Erfan Soltani's family say he's scheduled to be executed by the authorities in Iran sometime tomorrow. He's 26, and the decision is apparently final. There's no appeal. We don't know the charges, but if the death sentence is carried out, it's believed it may be the first following Iran's brutal crackdown on anti-government dissent after more than 2 weeks of nationwide street protests. Human rights organizations are warning his case could signal the start of mass executions targeting demonstrators. Tonight, Donald Trump said he would take very strong action if the Iranian government starts hanging protesters, but he didn't elaborate on what that action might be. A little earlier, he said the Iranian people should keep protesting and save the name of the killers and the abusers that are abusing you. Well, we'll take a look at what moves the White House might be considering, but first, Lise Doucette has our top story tonight.
Erfan Soltani, 26 years old, passionate about fashion, sports, style. He was arrested on Thursday, sentenced to death on Sunday. His family was told he'll be executed tomorrow.
I think we have to take it very seriously, but at the same time, the international community must send a very strong signal, because it seems that they are crossing one red line after the other, and so far they haven't had any consequences.
Tonight, President Trump was asked about this possible execution.
We will take very strong action. If they do such a thing, we will take very strong action.
Iran's security forces are lashing out at speed. As protests spiraled more quickly than previous unrest, the authorities also move faster than before, more forcefully too. This evening in London, the Iranian ambassador was summoned, more sanctions announced, and there was a statement in the House of Commons.
The United Kingdom condemns in the strongest of terms the horrendous and brutal killing of Iranian protesters, and we demand that the Iranian authorities respect the fundamental rights and freedoms of their citizens.
Messages sent to the BBC's Persian service reveal much more.
Tell your audiences there isn't the slightest trace of humanity left. Tell them it doesn't matter if someone is old or a child. In their eyes, everyone is a terrorist.
There are many plainclothes security forces in unmarked private cars. 5 people sit inside, all wearing masks. It's the most terrifying scene.
There was also news from a prison in southern Tehran that many of the wounded detainees were simply left there bleeding in the section designated for protesters.
And more grisly videos emerge despite the internet blackout. This is the open-air morgue in Karizak. Body bags keep arriving. Families keep searching. The death toll now reported to be in the thousands. These young Iranians are just a few of their faces. Erfan Soltani may soon be part of this terrible toll. Lise Doucette, BBC News.
Well, as we've been hearing, Donald Trump says America will respond with strong action if Iran begins executing protesters. But what does that mean? Sarah Smith has more from Washington.
Visiting a car plant in Michigan today to talk about the strength of the US economy, Donald Trump could not avoid questions about Iran. What did he mean when he told protesters that help is on the way?
What did you mean by that? What kind of help?
You're going to have to figure that one out, I'm sorry.
On social media, he had posted, "Iranian patriots, keep protesting, take over your institutions. Save the names of the killers and abusers, they will pay a big price. I've cancelled all meetings with Iranian officials until the senseless killing of protesters stops. Help is on its way." His audience here and around the world are listening intently for any clue about what form that help might take.
What I say to them is help is on its way. You saw that I put tariffs on anybody doing business with Iran. Just went into effect today. And I say, make Iran great again. You know, it was a great country until these monsters came in and took it over. And it's all very fragile.
His threats against Iran have been escalating over the last few days. 10 days ago, he issued this warning. If Iran shoots and violently kills peaceful protesters, which is their custom, the United States of America will come to their rescue. We are locked and loaded and ready to go. On Sunday, he said he was looking at military options.
These are violent if you call them leaders, I don't know if they're leaders or just they rule through violence. But we're looking at it very seriously. The military is looking at it, and we're looking at some very strong options. We'll make a determination.
So has he made that determination? Has he decided what action to take? The success of the US raid in Venezuela and the capture of President Nicolas Maduro 10 days ago has emboldened President Trump. But a similar operation is not possible in Iran, whose leaders are much better defended. The same national security officials who watched the Maduro raid have been laying out the possibilities. Donald Trump's talked about getting Elon Musk to use his Starlink satellites to restore internet communications, or they could launch some kind of cyber attack. Other options go all the way up to airstrikes against Iran's nuclear program or military sites. Donald Trump was delighted with the impact of the bunker bombs the US dropped on Iranian nuclear targets last June. Iran has said any attack like this would trigger retaliation against American and Israeli targets in the region. President Trump has been ratcheting up his rhetoric and increasing his threats against Iran, and he knows he will risk looking weak if he doesn't follow through. He may have been talking himself into taking some kind of action.
And Sarah, we're getting reports of some important breaking news concerning all this tonight.
Yeah, the State Department has just put out a briefing advising all US citizens in Iran to leave the country if they can. It says they should try travelling by land to Turkey or Armenia if it's safe to do so, and that if they don't think it's safe, they should find a secure location inside their own building and make sure they have a supply of food, water and essential medicines with them. So that does sound quite ominous in terms of the possibility that the US might be preparing some kind of attack on Iran. And you heard Donald Trump himself saying there that if they do hang protesters, the US will take very strong action. But he is still being incredibly vague about what that action might be. And he did say that if the Iranian regime started killing protesters, then the US would come to their rescue. And we haven't seen any sign of that yet. So it's very difficult to interpret what he meant when he said in that social media post to the protesters, help is on the way. Now, he is on the way back to the White House right now. He's on Air Force One, where he has said that once he gets back here to the White House, he's going to sit down with his national security advisors and look at what options are available to him on Iran. He obviously sees an opportunity to strike at a weakened regime in Iran at the moment, which he thinks could be to his advantage. But when he's asked what he wants to achieve in Iran, he's very unclear about that. He says he wants to win, but he can't define what that looks like in this case. So it does feel as though the plans are really not entirely ready yet, but might become so soon.